Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Aaron.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. Pope Francis's three-day tour of Jordan, Israel, and Bethlehem sparked some controversy, but it's also giving hope for the region's Christians. He left with a reminder that his efforts are spiritual, not political. Here's Chris Mitchell from Jerusalem.
Near the end of his visit, Pope Francis said Mass and greeted Christians at the Garden of Gethsemane.
I think he is a man that's going to do much good in uniting the churches.
During his visit, Pope Francis told the Christians living in Jerusalem he understood their difficulties and invited them to be courageous witnesses of the resurrection of Jesus. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told Francis Israel protects Christians.
We protect the rights of Christians in Israel. That, unfortunately, does not exist in many places in the Middle East. Even in Bethlehem, where Your Holiness visited, Jesus' birthplace has become a Muslim city.
Netanyahu also referred to the stop Pope Francis made at the security barrier between Bethlehem and Jerusalem.
When incitement and terror against Israel stops, there won't be a need for things like the security fence, which has saved thousands of lives.
On his way back to Rome, Pope Francis clarified his invitation to Israeli President Shimon Peres and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas to pray together at the Vatican.
It will be a prayer meeting. It will not be for mediation or to look for solutions. No, we will meet together to pray only, and then each one will return home. But I believe that prayer is important. Praying together without doing any sort of arguing, this helps.
The gathering is scheduled to take place in Rome in early June. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
The head of Lebanon's largest Christian church visited Israel over the weekend. He's the first Lebanese cleric to visit the Jewish state since its creation in 1948. Cardinal Bichara Rai is a Maronite Catholic. He made the trip despite criticism in Lebanon that the two countries remain officially at war. He said his journey was purely spiritual, intending to celebrate the roots of Christianity in the region.
Back here at home, nearly all of the people who were wounded in Friday's shooting rampage in Santa Barbara are now out of the hospital. And last night, students across the University of California system honored those who died in the massacre Elliot Rodger carried out Friday. Meanwhile, police continue their investigation, and we're learning more about those 10 minutes of terror, which included 12 crime scenes, 13 people injured, 3 shot dead, and 3 stabbed to death inside Rodger's apartment. Rodger outlined his deadly plot in a 137-page manifesto sent to family, friends, and his therapist. Reportedly, Rodger's parents desperately tried to find him after receiving the document, but it was too late.
A California college pastor says America's worship of sex and violence is partially responsible for Rodger's killing spree. Reverend David Gusick said the massacre shows that the idols of our culture work destruction in the lives of troubled people, and that America needs Jesus or it will be given over to the sex cults and the death cults, which he says drive people to do terrible things. Authorities say Rodger's obsessed with exacting, quote, retribution for social and sexual isolation.
A political earthquake in Brussels over the weekend. Parties opposed to the European Union won EU parliamentary elections in Britain and France. Dale Hurd reports now on the shockwave from Brussels.
First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they attack you, and then you win.
And that describes what has been happening in Europe over the past several years. European anger at the EU has been building and anti-EU parties have been growing, but they were mostly laughed at or ignored. Not anymore. Now the EU faces powerful political forces that want to destroy it, as UKIP's Nigel Farage told European reporters very plainly.
I don't just want Britain to leave the European Union, I want Europe to leave the European Union. I don't believe that flag, that anthem, and that president, whose name no one knows, really represent what Europe should be.
European voters have spoken very clearly that they want change, but the question is whether the elites in their own capitals and in Brussels will listen. And there's reason to believe that they won't. Because while the EU got trounced in 2 of Europe's largest and most important nations, Britain and France, in most of the EU, Europeans voted for the status quo, Doru Frantescu is policy director at Vote Watch Europe think tank.
The pro-European forces will still have a majority in the next European Parliament, even if this majority diminishes from about 72 to around 64% in the next Parliament.
The second reason Brussels is not likely to bend is that EU leaders have shown that they want more European Union and not less. Tighter integration, more laws, and more power to, as they would put it, solve Europe's problems. But last week's results show that the EU is the problem for voters in Britain and France, who see their nations being slowly taken over by EU laws. The first-place finish of Marine Le Pen's National Front Party had the French establishment in shock and the Hollande government in emergency meetings. The newspaper La Parisienne called the results the Big Bang. Le Pen told supporters, "Our people demand one policy only, a policy of the French for the French and with the French. They no longer want to be led from the outside." But what some have called the boldest, if not the biggest, political experiment in history, the European Union, will not be closing down just yet. And that's likely to mean that the forces opposing it have a bright future. Dale Hurd, CBN News, Brussels.
Escalating violence in eastern Ukraine Monday. The city of Donetsk was engulfed by heavy fighting when pro-Russian rebels tried to seize the airport. Ukraine's military used combat jets and helicopter gunships to launch airstrikes against the separatists. At least 30 rebels were killed. Meanwhile, Ukraine's president-elect vows to restore order in the country. Petro Poroshenko, who supports building strong ties with Europe, says military force should be used against, quote, killers and terrorists.
New questions about the search for that missing Malaysian airliner. Malaysia's government released dozens of pages of raw satellite data used to determine where the jet went down. But one independent expert says the data doesn't provide any new evidence to support the conclusion the jet turned south and then crashed into the Indian Ocean. Michael Exner, a satellite engineer, says most of the data is meaningless and doesn't include key information needed to validate the search team's conclusions. No trace of the airliner has been found after months of searching.
Nigeria's military says it knows where radical Muslims are holding scores of abducted girls, but it has ruled out using force to rescue them. This as civilian groups are beginning to arm themselves against future attacks by the militant group. George Thomas has the details.
Nearly 2 months after they were kidnapped, Nigeria's top military officer claims he knows the location of the missing girls.
The good news for the girls is that we know where they are, but we cannot tell you.
The girls, most of them Christians, were abducted from their school in Chibok in Nigeria's northern Borno state by the Islamist militant group Boko Haram.
We cannot come and tell you military secrets here. Just leave us alone. We are working. We will get the girls back.
Pentagon officials were not able to confirm his claims. Nigeria's defense minister says rescuing the girls by force would put their lives at risk.
Nobody should come and say the Nigerian military does not know what it is doing. We know what we are doing. We can't go and kill our girls in the name of trying to get them back.
Except for this video of the kidnapped girls, which was released by the terrorist group, little is known about their whereabouts. In the video, the group's leader threatened to sell the girls if the government does not release Boko Haram fighters being held in prison. The US, UK and France have military and intelligence personnel on the ground in Nigeria searching for the girls. Meanwhile, in Borno State, the epicenter of Boko Haram's insurgency, civilians angry that their government isn't doing enough to provide protection are beginning to form their own security task force. Men armed with swords, bows and arrows, machetes and homemade guns have set up checkpoints in and out of the state. More than 470 have been killed since the girls were abducted 7 weeks ago. George Thomas, CBN News.
The Sudanese woman who was sentenced to death for refusing to renounce Christianity gave birth in prison early this morning. Miriam Ibrahim was sentenced to 100 lashes as well for adultery. The courts do not recognize the 27-year-old's marriage to a Christian man because her father was Muslim. She has been in jail since February, and her first child, a 20-month-old, has been with her. Her husband is confined to a wheelchair, and he said that Miriam is chained at the ankles in her cell.
Myanmar is considering a new bill restricting religious conversions. It would require anyone seeking to change their religion to get permission first. The purpose reportedly is to make sure conversions are not coerced. Myanmar is mostly Buddhist with Christian and Muslim minorities. Christians and Muslims have been persecuted there.
And coming up, the plan to put an end to Planned Parenthood. Hear what's being done to shut down the nation's largest abortion provider. The story's coming up next.
The American Bible Challenge is back. Premiering May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Jeff Foxworthy is ready to play.
The whole family's gonna love it.
Kurt Franklin's gonna sway.
Are you ready?
And you'll see the Bible in a whole new way.
Don't I look chic? That was impressive.
An all-new season premieres Thursday, May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Only on Game Show Network.
Pat Boone here with some good news you can trust. Today, our faith, families, and our freedoms are under attack. Polls say 2 out of 3 Americans no longer trust government. A stalled economy, weakening dollar, and politicians willing to steal money from our children to waste on unfixable problems. So, whom can you trust? Well, our money still says in God we trust. But do we? Or have we quietly allowed the things we hold sacred to be stolen by the enemies of traditional values? Today, our government spends almost twice its income, running up a tab for future generations into the hundreds of trillions. How can you stop this from happening to your family? Well, it's all covered in a fantastic new book, The Great Withdrawal by Craig Smith and Dr. Lowell Ponte. Every American needs to read this book. Why don't you call now for a free copy of The Great Withdrawal? It's the simple truth you can trust.
The American Bible Challenge is back. Premiering May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Jeff Foxworthy is ready to play.
The whole family's gonna love it.
Kurt Franklin's gonna sway.
Are you ready?
And you'll see the Bible in a whole new way.
Don't I look chic? That was impressive.
An all-new season premieres Thursday, May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Only on Game Show Network.
States from coast to coast are facing much higher Medicaid costs thanks to Obamacare. Medicaid is the health care safety net for low-income people, and states have to use their own money to help pay for it. Some liberal state governments choose to make Medicaid available to more people under Obamacare. Plus, previously eligible people are joining Medicaid in high numbers. That's because all Americans are required to get insurance under Obamacare. California is expecting 300,000 more signups than predicted last fall. Even states like Georgia and Montana that opposed Obamacare are seeing a boost of 5 to 10%. Many states do not have the budget to pay for the Medicaid boom.
For decades, the fight against abortion has focused on protests, prayer, and elections. But now there's a new strategy going after the lifeline of the abortion industry by taking away its money and its workers. Paul Strand brings us that story.
Since 1992, 2/3 of the abortion clinics in America have shut down permanently.
But Mark Crutcher and his group Life Dynamics aren't stopping there. Their latest strategy could cost the industry billions of dollars, possibly cripple it. It involves shining a light on a rarely reported crime. Many females getting abortions are underage girls made pregnant by grown men.
60 to 80% of them were impregnated by adult men. So it's statutory rape and sexual abuse and aggravated sexual abuse of minors.
By law, abortion clinics must report such crimes, but Life Dynamics' undercover investigations found otherwise.
Planned Parenthood and the National Abortion Federation clinics and all these others are openly flaunting their state mandatory reporting laws.
Would you guys have to tell anybody?
Here, no, we don't tell anybody anything.
They're not reporting these situations. They're protecting the predators.
So Crutcher's group wants personal injury lawyers in this country to know there's money to be made suing abortion clinics over this.
You're talking about thousands of new victims every day. So you're looking at something that could easily be $25, $30 billion before it's all over.
Life Dynamics has contacted more than 53,000 trial lawyers about this and is offering them a free ad so they can reach these victims.
If you are one of these children, or if you are the parent of one of these children, your legal rights may have been violated.
And Crutcher says his phone is ringing off the hook. Hundreds of miles away near Austin, Texas, One of the pro-life movement's more controversial figures pursues a different tactic. Abby Johnson wants to convince abortion clinic employees to quit. Johnson worked for Planned Parenthood for 8 years, serving as a director of one of their clinics for some of those. Other abortion defectors in the past have made a good living doing speeches and appearances before pro-life groups, which is pretty much what Johnson is doing full-time now. But she insists her goal is much bigger than making money. Now Abby Johnson is working from her base here, her home in Round Rock, Texas, and traveling the globe with a vision to kill off the very abortion industry she once worked for. Johnson writes in her book, Unplanned, that her outlook changed when Planned Parenthood asked her to do something unexpected. Help with an ultrasound during an abortion.
I was holding the ultrasound probe and I stood there and watched as a 13-week-old unborn child fought and struggled for his life during that abortion.
Planned Parenthood told its people to inform clients young fetuses couldn't feel pain. Johnson knew, watching that child's painful death, she'd been lied to.
But I had then in turn lied to thousands of women.
Johnson also realized Planned Parenthood's goal was not to make the procedure safe and rare, but to sell abortion.
To Planned Parenthood, abortion always is the best thing for a woman. 98% of women who are pregnant that go into a Planned Parenthood clinic will get an abortion.
In order to fight this, she decided to starve the clinics of their employees. Johnson started the group, and then there were none. They offer abortion clinic workers who'll quit up to 3 months of financial support while they look for another job. The group insists no one is beyond redemption.
You are not trapped by the abortion industry.
And one of Abby's allies offers a challenge for those still at the clinics.
Listen to your heart. Pray about it. Let God show you the truth.
Nurse Angie Andino fell into deep depression after her Planned Parenthood work. She says God woke her up late one night and whispered, "Save the babies."
And I thought, wow, God, save the babies, okay. I don't know what that means right now, but I'm sure you're going to let me know.
Then a job opened up at a pro-life pregnancy center where Andino began a career saving and delivering thousands of babies. A turnaround she believes could happen for any abortion worker who flees.
Their stories can be just like that.
And that would help fulfill the vision statement of Johnson's group.
No abortion clinic workers, no abortion clinics, no abortions.
American women still get more than 1 million abortions a year. But what if there comes a day when all those abortion clinic workers have quit and there's no one left to do them? Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Round Rock, Texas.
Up next, meet the Gouda nuns, 13 sisters who make 20,000 pounds of cheese and offer spiritual solace.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
It is a business model you won't see anywhere else. 13 nuns who make cheese and they sell out every year.
That's right. So what's their secret ingredient? Heather Sells traveled to their monastery in Virginia to find out.
This is the heart of this cloistered Trappist nun community, gathering for worship and prayer 7 times a day, starting at 3:15 in the morning. And this is the cheese barn, where the 13 sisters at Our Lady of the Angels make 20,000 pounds of Gouda every year. Most of their $250,000 business is mail order, although some local shops drive out monthly for the cheese their customers crave.
The flavor's great. It's on the mild end in terms of intensity, but it's delicious and really versatile. You can use it for cooking, or you can just nosh it with salami and olives and bread.
When they started, the nuns knew nothing about how to make cheese. Today, they literally cannot keep up with the demand from food connoisseurs around the country.
It sort of sells itself. People get it as a gift. And they call and they say, could I order some of this cheese?
Sister Barbara is one of the original 6 who was sent by a large monastery in Massachusetts to start anew on this gorgeous piece of land near Charlottesville, Virginia. The goal, follow the centuries-old rules of St. Benedict by building a life based on prayer and engage in manual labor to support themselves. Happily for the sisters, the property they bought already featured a cheese-making facility.
We were so naive, we thought it'd be so simple. You have some of this equipment here, and you just get some milk and a few lessons and just make some cheese.
But the sisters persevered, and they got it right, really right. They allot 32 days a year to make the Gouda, and everyone pitches in. Sister Maria is the designated cheese cook. The 35-year-old from Spain must manipulate some 6,000 pounds of pasteurized milk with a little culture and rennet into several hundred wheels of cheese. It looks easy, but like any good recipe, it's all about precision, getting the correct temperature, cutting the curds at just the right moment, heating them, then draining the whey, and finally pressing the cheese. Over the years, the sisters have not only perfected their technique, they've never bungled a batch. That's almost unheard of. Sister Linda is sidelined from the cheesemaking with an injury right now, but says her fellow sisters' attention to detail is key.
A big part of it has been their openness to learning and their absolute dedication to doing it better.
The sisters say prayer is also a big part of their work, from making the cheese to shipping it out.
While I'm doing it, I'm really praying for the people who are gonna eat that cheese. I mean, I know every family, every person have problems.
For every 5 cheese orders that come in the mail, at least one, maybe out of every 4, one will have a request for prayers.
Prayer is also the reason the nuns say they won't grow their business.
People will come in and say, well, you sold out last year, so you're going to make more next year, aren't you?
The priority is not the cheese. That's not why we're here.
What is happening here? A seeking after the Lord that is visibly discernible.
It's fun to see the nuns, and they're so, kind and calm and mellow. It sort of slows you down a little bit.
People come to the door, come to buy cheese. They always want to know a little bit about our way of life, so we tell them. And then we ask them if they'd like to stop in the chapel for a moment.
When they're not in the chapel or making the cheese, the nuns do admit to eating it, often. And there is a preferred method.
My favorite way to have it is on a piece of toast for breakfast.
If you toast a piece of bread so that the bread is kind of crispy, and then you put a couple thin slices of cheese on, put it in the microwave for 25 seconds.
So what's next for the sisters? No cheddar or Havarti, they say. It's strictly Gouda. As for their numbers, it's clear a new generation is needed sometime soon. But these women believe if they remain true to their calling, God will replenish their ranks in His time.
We are here together because God called us here. One way or another, we all followed what we perceived to be God's call to us individually. We never knew each other before, so it's not a coincidence, but part of a larger plan that remains a mystery.
It is a beautiful, holy mystery that's unfolding here as the sisters seek out God, and find ways to minister through simple 2-pound wheels of cheese. Reporting in Crozet, Virginia, Heather Sells, CBN News.
Do you have an idea for an invention or a new product? Brian and Alice Jagosh, the inventors of the halftime drill driver, did. They invented a power drill attachment that lets you drill, flip, and drive in seconds. Brian and Alice licensed their invention to the company that brought you the Snuggie, and it's now selling in major retailers nationwide. Look for the Invent Help Caveman on the package. If you have an invention that you would like to try to patent and submit to companies for possible review and want free information on how Invent Help may be able to assist you, call now. Invent Help is America's largest inventor service company with sales offices in more than 60 cities nationwide. Call Invent Help today for free information. Our clients made a financial gain with their invention, but this is just their individual result. Brian and Alice's experience is not typical, as only a very small number of inventions are licensed or sold in stores.
For your free inventors information, call 1-800-559-8567. That's 1-800-559-8567.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids. Do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes and Google Play now.
Finally today, Operation Blessing is helping a low-income community right here in Virginia.
Indeed it is. Teaming up with Bon Secours and other organizations, Operation Blessing has turned a vacant lot in the city of Norfolk into a community garden. Community members, including 15 children, help repair, plant, and clean the East Ocean View Community Garden. Operation Blessing also bought nearly 300 plants, including everything necessary for the hydroponics garden: boxes, fresh soil, and mulch. Now, you can find out more about Operation Blessing by going to its website, ob.org. The gospel with hands and feet every day.
What doesn't OB do? It's amazing.
I tell you, everything.
Amen. It's good to be a part. That's it for now on CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
And take the time to tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do it on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make it a terrific Tuesday, everybody.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be, but they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
Every day, people are connecting on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Now you can be part of the conversation and connect on topics you care about through 700 Club Interactive. Log on to Facebook, Twitter, or go to YouTube. and share your opinions, your prayer requests, and your videos while making friends in our community.
Well, welcome to the show.
Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. 700 Club Interactive. Be a part of the show.